Hello everyone, and welcome back to another True Crime Mysteries video. Thank you all for being here. Today we're discussing the recent capture of a California serial killer, Wesley Brownlee. Let's get into it. From July to September 2022 in Stockton, California, it would see a series of shootings that would eventually be tied to the work of a serial killer. On July 8, 2022, the Stockton police responded to a shooting at 12:31 a.m. in a park on the 5600 block of Kermit Lane. The victim would be rushed to the hospital, but would die of his injuries. He was later identified as 35-year-old Paul Alexander Yaw. In a statement to the press, his mother, Greta Bogro, said, quote, "This is my son, Paul. He was a great man with a big heart. He was my son, a father, a grandson, a nephew, cousin, and brother, and was loved by many. He has left a huge hole in our hearts, and I hope to catch the person responsible before this happens again." Over a month later, the police would respond to shots fired on August 11th at 9:49 p.m. in a Popeyes restaurant parking lot on the 4900 block of West Lane. The 43-year-old man, later identified as Salvador William Debude Jr., would be pronounced dead at the scene. His wife, Annalita Lopez, is quoted saying, "To be honest with you, a part of me died with him that day," Lopez said. "It's been hard. It's been really, really hard." On August 30th, they would see the next shooting on the 800 block of E. Hammer Lane at 6:41 a.m. Police responded and found a 21-year-old man in his car. He was pronounced dead at the scene. He was identified as Jonathan Rodriguez Hernandez. Jonathan's mother set up a memorial near where he died with a message that said, "I will always love you and remember you for the love that you always had for us, your parents. You didn't deserve your life to be taken this way. You were always good and a kind child to everyone around you, and they all loved you. I, your mother, am mostly heartbroken and will always miss you with my heart and soul. Your Mammy, as you always called me." On September 21st at 4:27 a.m., Stockton police responded to shots fired on the 4400 block of Manchester Avenue. They identified a man on the sidewalk. First responders attempted life-saving measures, but he was pronounced dead at the scene and was later identified as 52-year-old Juan Carlos Carranza Cruz. Less than a week later, on September 27th, the police would respond to a shooting at 1:51 a.m. on the 900 block of Porter Avenue. A 54-year-old man was found again on the sidewalk. Life-saving measures were taken, but the man again died at the scene. The man, Lawrence Lopez, was described as a father of 6, and his sister is quoted as saying, "My brother was everything, and I'm never going to hear his laughter." The Stockton Police Department posted on Facebook on September 30th that they believe that all of these shootings were connected to the same person. They'd reviewed hours of video surveillance from around the shootings and posted a picture of a suspect. The suspect was wearing all dark colors, and you could not see the person's face. The police also released a map of the shootings.
So right now, Stockton police believe that a potential serial killer has now been active since April of this year. 2 new victims have been identified.
And one of the victims died. The other did survive. The gunman shot both of them in the early morning hours. This now brings the total to 7.
So the message is police that time and time again are repeating, as we just heard, please don't panic.
But the Stockton Police Department says it is baffled by this string of killings.
All right, Devin Truby is standing by now with more on the why and a lot of questions left unanswered. Devin, good morning to you.
Good morning, Walt, and they are baffled because Stockton police says they do not know why these individuals were targeted. There's no motivation right now in terms of drugs or even gang activity. In fact, the only thing connecting all of these people right now is the fact that they were attacked when they were alone and when it was dark outside. And these 2 new victims that we now know about, police are working to confirm, to find out if that matches, if they were also alone during the time that they were targeted, but still waiting for that information. The age of all these individuals is also very broad, anywhere from 20 to 50 years old. 4 of them were Hispanic men, 1 was a white man. Authorities releasing a very grainy still image of a person that appears in videos at multiple crime scenes, calling this person dressed in all black in a black ball cap, who's tall and slender, a person of interest at this time. Police saying the alleged serial killer is very bold and very brazen. And we spoke with one of the victim's family members on the discovery that this may now be the work of a serial killer.
They were all killed late at night or early in the morning, always when it was dark out. The men were always alone, and there were no witnesses. On October 3rd, the Stockton police would announce another connection from 2021. They would connect two shootings from 2021, one on April 10th of a Hispanic man identified by his family as Miguel Vasquez. He was 40 years old and was shot in Oakland, California at 4:18 a.m. He was found on the sidewalk and died at the scene. The second shooting would be the only survivor of this killer. Her name is Natasha Latour, and she was shot on April 16th. Natasha was unhoused, living in a tent on the corner of Park and Union Street in Stockton. She has since been interviewed, saying that she heard someone outside her tent, she got out to investigate, she saw a figure wearing dark clothing and a black medical-looking mask obscuring his face. The assailant pointed a gun at her and started shooting. Natasha didn't have anywhere to run, so she rushed her attacker. When she did, he got down on one knee with both hands on the gun and continued to shoot. She was shot multiple times, and the person said nothing to her and just walked away. This occurred at 3:20 a.m. She was found by a Good Samaritan who called 911. Natasha said in an interview that she felt after the attack the police didn't listen to her and that they thought it was a drug deal gone wrong, and that after getting out of the hospital, it was her that had to go to contact the police about her attack. She was quoted in the interview saying, "5 people died because they didn't listen to me." All the families have asked for privacy and time while they process everything that has happened. All 7 cases have been connected with ballistic evidence. Police have not released any more information on how they know they are connected. In a press release on October 15th, the Stockton Police Department announced that they had arrested a suspect in a series of killings. The SPD said in a statement regarding the arrest, quote, "We can only provide limited information for the integrity of the investigation. Just because an arrest was made does not mean that the investigation stops."
So we want to thank our partners in law enforcement, Stockton Police Department, Chief McFadden, thank you, Catherine Nass, Stager, all of them who have worked, their detectives, officers on the street, who have worked so hard and dedicated themselves to ensuring the arrest and apprehension of this suspect. We've worked with fellow local, state, and federal agencies who assisted in the capture of this suspect, Wesley Brownlee. I want to thank District Attorney Ron Freitas-elect, Chief James Boyko from the Bureau of Investigations, and a marvelous team from my office, Supervising Deputy District Attorney Caitlin Casey, Deputy District Attorneys Janet Smith and Elton Grau, for their hard work and dedication, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on this case and all the other cases that they handle. They're the most ethical, professional, hardworking people you could have the privilege of working with. The City of Stockton, all of their resources were made available during the course of this investigation. So thank you, City Manager. We appreciate that. ATF and our business community, our spiritual community. I couldn't go 5 feet in this community where people weren't saying prayers that we find this individual, and prayers for the survivors and families that have been so terribly harmed by these crimes. I want to thank all of them, also those who contributed to the reward amount. In conjunction with Stockton Police Department, the San Joaquin County District Attorney's Office is committed to ensuring the safety of our community. My administration has been working around the clock to providing any necessary resources that the Stockton Police Department would need during the course of this investigation into these tragic killings. My deputy district attorneys, who have been here all night, are reviewing the evidence as we speak, and they're working actively in partnership with the investigation to determine the charges that we'll proceed on. The defendant, because I'm no longer ever going to say his name again, because he doesn't deserve to have a name. He doesn't deserve to be out there. So the defendant is what we're going to call him from now on. The defendant will have charges, will be arraigned in court on Tuesday afternoon at 1:30. At that point, after the arraignment, we'll have a press conference announcing the charges and discussing those charges further with you. This is a very fluid and ongoing investigation. So we will most likely be adding charges, but at this time, we have to bring them before a magistrate within 48 hours. That clock's running now, so we have till Tuesday to bring them in. We'll arraign them at that time, and then we'll proceed to continue to assist with the investigation and also assist in healing our community. Our Family Justice Center, our doors are open, our victim witness services are available, and we're here to help. This crime was solved because we're Stocktonians. Because you don't come to our house and bring this kind of reign of terror and not mobilize 350,000 people, 780,000 in this whole entire county. Mobilized, and captured this individual whose reign of terror is no longer. So I want to thank San Joaquin County, and particularly the city of Stockton, community members, activists, people in our faith-based community, businesses, our law enforcement, our prosecution, and now we'll be rolling into the court. Thank them all for this opportunity to really bring home justice for these victims.
We now have to have a successful prosecution for our victims and their families. For the last 2 days, I have met with our victims' families. I can't go into our conversations, but our talks have been very emotional and they want justice. They also stated that it was a combination of community tips and good old-fashioned police work that they were able to zero in on a possible suspect. They said, quote, "We watched his patterns and determined early this morning he was on a mission to kill. He was out hunting. He was stopped by our team in the area of the Village Green Drive and Winslow Avenue around 2 a.m. this morning. When police arrested the suspect, he was wearing all dark clothing with a mask around his neck, and he was armed with a handgun." The arrested 43-year-old Wesley Brownlee. Brownlee was born in San Francisco, but grew up most of his life in Oakland in an apartment only 6 blocks from the April attacks. In the 90s, he moved with his family to Stockton. His parents were together on and off for years, but they split when Brownlee was in his teens. It is reported that he was accused of sexual assault while he was a teenager along with 2 other boys, and denied any involvement, blaming the assault on the other boys. Also, according to records, he has been arrested multiple times for selling illicit substances in Oakland. In October of 1995, the Oakland Tribune reported that his brother, Dale Brownlee, had been shot and killed in the streets of his old neighborhood in Oakland while visiting friends. The report at the time believed it was a drug-related killing. There's no information on if anyone was ever charged for his brother's killing. Mercury News reported that a probation document had stated that Brownlee apparently suffered both innate mental limitation and psychological stress over his brother's 1995 shooting death. Quote, "He seems either unable or unwilling to assume meaningful responsibility for himself. He appears to have difficulty settling into any kind of positive activity." Brownlee never completed high school, having dropped out when he was a junior. He has been convicted several times. None of his convictions were for violent crimes. Brownlee seems to have had a very troubled youth and never managed to get his life on the right path. Police have reported that Brownlee had used a ghost gun in some of the shootings. We covered ghost guns pretty extensively during the Nancy Brophy case, but essentially ghost guns are unregulated firearms that anyone, including minors and prohibited purchasers, can buy and build without a background check. Ghost guns are unserialized and untraceable firearms that can be bought online and assembled at home. A neighbor of Brownlee has reported that he was quiet and kept to himself, and that he had lived with his mother on and off over the past few years. Police reported that they currently can't find a motive for why Brownlee would start killing in his early 40s. They do believe that he would have continued killing if he had not been arrested. Though 5 of the victims were Hispanic and 4 were unhoused, authorities do not believe that race or situation had any motives for the killings, that he was killing opportunistically. They believe that Brownlee was hunting for victims that were alone or easy to come up upon. After his arrest in October, Brownlee was held without bail. On October 18th, Wesley was charged with 3 of the 6 shootings he is believed to have committed. He was charged with the deaths of Hernandez in the August 30th shooting, Cruz in the September 21st shooting, and Lopez shot September 27th. Since October, Brownlee has had multiple arraignments and has had his most recent one postponed to January 2023. He has not put in a plea and is being defended by a public defender. In October, Brownlee's legal team argued for a publicity gag order, saying that recent news reports and press coverage of conferences were hurting their client's chance at a fair trial, that he had been depicted as guilty of serial killings before the trial had even begun. The judge denied the gag order, stating that the press conference was stating facts of what happened and the arrest, as well as quoted saying, "My ruling in no way condones some of the inflammatory statements made by the press, but I would urge parties to keep their issues in mind when speaking to the press going forward." Authorities have said that the investigation has not stopped, they are still looking for more evidence in this case, and that more charges may come for Brownlee in 2023. At this time, Brownlee is being held in custody while he awaits trial. So far, he faces 3 counts of murder, possession of a firearm and ammunition. He faces life in prison if convicted, or the death penalty. As always, please leave a comment down below if you want me to keep following this case to trial, or give updates as this progresses. Well, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. As always, if you want to support the channel, the easiest way is to hit the like button. You can also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss my next upload. Other ways to support the channel are joining my Patreon or channel membership. I also have merch available in the description box, as well as links to all my socials. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter for more. But with that being said, thank you so much for being here and supporting what I do. It is very appreciated. That's it for me. I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.